Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to walk you through how to set up your stationery templates. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create 4 artboards within one single file. So let me show you how to do that. Once you launch Illustrator, click on Create New. Make sure to select the Print tab, select Letter, and then over inside your preset details we want to make sure that we change the unit of measurements to inches. Making sure that we're working with 8.5 width by 11 height, where an orientation should be set to portrait. Our artboards, type in 4. And for bleed, let's type in 0.125 inside the top box. If you happen to have the chain link icon that is connected, you can simply click on another box within inside your bleed settings and it will apply the number throughout all of them. If not, you can always type in 0.125 for each one. You want to make sure that your color mode is set to CMYK, and outside of that, everything is good, so hit Create. And you will notice we now have 4 artboards. And the red line around each one, that is your bleed line. Inside your Properties panel, click on Edit Artboards. The first one that is selected is Artboard 1. It currently is the width and the height that we need for letterhead. 8.5 by 11 is standard. So underneath Artboards, let's just go ahead and change the name from Artboard 1 to Letterhead. And hit Enter. So while you're still in Artboard mode, click on Artboard 2. We're going to make this the envelope. So for the width, I want you to type in 9.5. And for the height, I want you to type in 4.125. And hit Enter. You now have the exact size of an A10 envelope. And for the name, highlight it and type in envelope. And hit Enter. Still in Artboard mode, let's go and click on Artboard 3. For this size, we want to change the width to 3.5 and the height to 2. And this will be the backside of your business card. Now if, however, you are wanting to design a vertical business card, then you would switch these numbers. The width would be set to 2, and the height would be set to 3.5. Again, it's going to depend on the idea that you have selected for your design. But for now, I'm just going to switch it back to standard. So 3.5 by 2. For the name, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to change it to business card back, and then hit Enter. And then while still in Artboard mode, I'm going to click on Artboard 4. Again, I'm going to change this size to be 3.5 by 2 to match the other business card, because this is going to be the inside of our business card or the front. I'm going to change the name to business card front, and then hit Enter. Now while you're inside your Artboard mode, you can always move these artboards around by simply clicking on them and then moving them. And what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and move to it. Let's go up to View, Fit All in Window. This will give us a chance to zoom in a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my business cards up underneath the envelope. And if you don't already have it turned on, come up to View, turn on your Smart Guides. And you'll notice that as I'm moving this around, I get those smart guides to help me line things up. I'm going to move this up so it matches the center of that one. Okay, so there I have my letterhead, envelope, business card back, and business card front. Now, while we're still inside this mode, let's just go ahead and make sure that everything is as it needs to be so that we're all on the same page as I walk you through directions. Come up to Window and go to Artboards. And you'll notice here that these are your artboard numbers. So 1, 1, 2, 2, and everything else. And these are the names that you have given them. If for some reason your artboard does not match this, where 1 is the letterhead, 2 is the envelope, 3 is the business card back, and 4 is the business card front, you can always rearrange these to be in the proper order. And you'll notice that those numbers change. So for example, letterhead, if I were to click and drag it down below envelope, you'll notice that letterhead is now marked as 2, envelope is now 1. So I'm going to click and move letterhead back to the top. And you can also move it around by simply selecting the item and then using the arrows here to move the order of them. But what I want to make sure is that you have your order of stationery is set to be the same as mine. So 1 should be the letterhead, 2 the envelope, 3 business card back, 4 business card front. Very good. When you're done, you go and click the X on that to get rid of it. And I'm going to hit the escape key on my keyboard, or you can also select the selection tool to get out of artboard mode, or you can also come over here inside your properties panel and click on exit. So I'm going to go back to view, fit all in window, and this is what we're going to be working with. And again, the red line is your bleed line. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to go and create our margins inside each one of these. So over inside our properties panel, let's make sure that we have artboard 1 selected. And let's come up here to view, fit artboard in window. This will just allow us to concentrate on just the first artboard. Inside your toolbar, you want to click on your shapes tool. Now, if you don't happen to see the rectangle, you can always right click it and then choose the rectangle tool from there. And I want you to click once on the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a rectangle to serve as our margin. And so this rectangle is going to be smaller than our overall letterhead size. Now, the directions call for us to have a 0.25 margin on the inside of our letterhead. So if we were to take a calculator, we know that 0.25 on the left plus 0.25 on the right is going to give us basically a ½ inch. This is what we need to subtract from the overall size of our letterhead. So we are going to minus that from 8.5. That's going to give us 8. So your width should be 8. Now for the height, again, we have 0.25 at the top plus 0.25 at the bottom. That gives us a total of a ½ inch that we need to subtract from the overall height of our letterhead. And if you remember right, that is 11. So 11 minus 0.5 equals 10.5, and that is the height. So we're going to type in 10.5 and hit OK. Now, what we want to make sure that we do is let's go to our color panel. We want to make sure that we have no fill. We want to change our stroke to be 30% cyan. I'm getting rid of all the black ink. So we'll basically have a blue outline. Now I've moved the rectangle over my letterhead. And to line it up where I need it to be perfectly, with the object selected, I'm going to come over here to my properties panel, drop down to align. I'm going to click on the first one, which is horizontal align center. And then I'm going to click on vertical align center. And it's going to basically center it inside the letterhead. I'm going to deselect by clicking off to the side. And now inside my properties panel, I'm going to choose artboard. And we're going to go to artboard 2. Do the exact same thing here. Select your rectangle tool and click once. Go to my calculator, clear this out. Now, of course, you'll see that it's pulling in the numbers from our previous rectangle, but we want to change that for this particular one because this rectangle that we're working with now is our envelope. And the default envelope is 9.5 inches wide by 4.125 inches tall. So if you look at your directions, the directions say that you have to have a margin of 0.375 all the way around. So that means the left side we have 0.375 plus 0.375 on the right gives us a total of 0.75. This is what we need to subtract from 9.5 inches. So if we do 9.5 minus 0.75, we get 8.75. So that's going to be our width. We go back to our calculator. Again, we have 0.375 for the top plus 0.375 for the bottom gives us a total of 0.75. The height of our envelope is currently 4.125, so minus 0.75. That means our height needs to be 3.375. Hit OK. And again, it's pulling in this previous fill and stroke. And I'm going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to move it over here. And with the object selected, I'm going to come over to my properties panel, come down to align. I'm going to click on the horizontal align center and the vertical align center. And that's going to center it up for me. Finally, I'm going to deselect by clicking off to the side. I'm going to click on Artboard 3. This takes me to one of the business cards. Same thing. Click on your rectangle tool, click once. Let's bring up our calculator. Now, if you look at the directions, the business cards have a margin of 0.125 all the way around. So 0.125 on the left plus 0.125 on the right equals a total of 0.25. So if we subtract that from 3.5, we get our width. So our width will be 3.25. Let's go back to our calculator. So again, if our margin is 0.125 up at the top plus 0.125 margin at the bottom, it gives a total of 0.25, and we're going to subtract that from the height of your business card. In this case, it's 2 inches. So 2 minus 0.25 equals 1.75 for the height. And hit OK. Again, we're just going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to click on the edge to drag it out. And then I'm going to fix its alignment by going to my properties panel, coming down to align, clicking on the horizontal align center, and then clicking on the vertical align center. And now it's perfectly inside that shape. Now, for this one, I'm just going to copy, because again, this is one side of the business card. I'm going to copy this shape. Then I'm going to deselect. And inside my properties panel, I'm going to select Artboard 4. Then I'm going to come up to Edit and Paste. And just to make sure that it's perfectly aligned with it selected, I'm going to come over here to my Align panel, click on the horizontal align center, and again, the vertical align center, just to make sure. So it looks like everything has been put in place. And just to kind of show you how these margins are supposed to work, so the white area is your trim size. Okay, that's the actual size of your document. So when it goes through a cutter, that's what it's going to cut it to be. The red is the bleed. Again, any color or image that is going to touch the edge of your document, you have to extend it beyond that till it touches the red bleed. And for anything else, you want to make sure that all your important information stays within inside your margin or inside this blue line. This is your safe zone, okay? Do not extend any important information beyond that. Finally, let's go up to View. Let's come up to Fit All in Window. And now you can see how each one has a guide. Let's do one more thing. Let's go into our layers. Let's create a new layer and call it Margins. I'm double clicking the name and type in Margins. And I'm going to come up here to Select, and I'm going to do All. Now, because the only thing that we have drawn are the guides, that's all that it's going to select. So you notice inside of our layers, we've got this little blue square. I'm going to click and drag that blue square up to the margins layer, like so. Click and drag. That means that all these guides now sit on the margins layer. Now I'm going to click on this space in between the eyeball and the red line right there. That's going to lock it. I can't move them now, which is perfect. This means I don't want to actually move my guides. And then finally, I'm going to create one more layer. I'm going to click and drag it below the margins layer. And this will be the layer that I do all my designs on. Okay, this will allow me, so no matter what I'm working on, I will always be able to see the guides sitting on top. And if I need to hide them, I can always come up to my layers panel and just click on the eyeball to hide, and then, or bring them back. And that's really it. You are ready to design your corporate identity package.